Hello everyone, this is Chinmay from Make Auto Cleaning. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about rear disc brake. Definitely friends, it is not only about Royal Enfield or any particular product. Why? Today although I do have one of the product from Royal Enfield, that is Thunderbird. But it is not necessary that this diagnostic or the logic or the treatment or the repairing process is applicable only for Royal Enfield. It is applicable to all the motorcycles or scooters which has got rear disc brake. For the front disc brake, of course you need to understand that as well, but little bit different, because the front disc brake has got a little different construction. The rear disc brake has got a little different construction. So today I have one vehicle from another client. After seeing YouTube only, he came and he got to know that I think I can repair. So let's try, of course. So according to him, his problem is that the symptom is what? The vehicle is getting jammed. The vehicle the brake is getting jammed. Now what is the problem? So first what I did, I went for a ride and I found that the wheel is getting jammed, absolutely getting jammed. Now the thing is happening only when he says that when I start riding the bike, the wheel is getting jammed. When I'm not riding the bike, when I'm keeping the vehicle for off, for a longer period than when the vehicle is in cold condition, then the vehicle is absolutely free. Otherwise, the vehicle is having too much of drag or too much of load. I cannot ride the bike properly. Although I have spent n number of things or n number of amount on that, vehicle went to professionals as well, and they said that the disc is gone. So he spent on the disc. He changed the disc, he changed the brake fluid, he changed the brake pads, and everything he changed. But he is saying that the problem is not resolved. Now the problem is what? He is saying that convert the rear disc brake from disc to drum, and I am saying that don't do that, because it is more headache and it's not possible, since the brake pedal cannot be fitted on this chassis because the foundation is completely different for the brake pedal. Anyways, apart from the modification, now let's come back to the main problem. So first of all, when the brake is getting jammed, do not change anything unless until you understand the logic behind the engineering of the rear disc brake. Every motorcycle has got, as I mentioned, that this problem is common problem in most of the motorcycles or two-wheelers which has got rear disc brake. Now in every motorcycle, rear pedal has got an adjuster which has got a link. So you have to adjust the link. Number one, you have to understand whether the caliper is greased or caliper is maintained by the professional properly or not, because it requires special grease. Caliper grease is different. Do not use normal grease, otherwise the rubber boot will get damaged. Anyways, I am going to show that thing when I am going to work on this bike. So you have to understand, first of all, the disc rotor is original from the company. Number two, original brake pads, the thickness has to be maintained. Number three, brake fluid has to be new. Anyways, the brake fluid is new in this motorcycle. And the adjuster, the lever adjuster or the brake pedal adjuster. So all those things you have to check, and then only you can work on, you can check the vehicle on the road. Do not change anything unless until you see all those things. If the the disc is bent or something, then it's a different story. You will have feathering kind of a feeling at the brake pedal. So it is not related to that. Most important thing, many people say that the disc is bent. Remember friends, it's a bulk manufacturing process. Number two, every disc you will have bent. They write the number, how much it is out, like 0.2, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 max. Some limitations are there. So each and every disc you will buy, you will see it's bent. So whatever you are going to buy, it's going to be bent. Brand new bent, and that is also original bent, petty pack bent. Everything is going to be bent. You are not going to get perfect disc. That is not possible. It is impossible to control that much. It's an engineering. So this error will be there in all the disc, even if it is front disc or the rear disc. So do not change the disc immediately unless until the disc, if you check it on the lathe or if you check it on the dial gauge, if it is too much out, if it is out of the limits, given limits by the company, then it's a different story. And if you're feeling the feathering kind of a pedal, it's a different story. But here, if you are buying wrong disc or the duplicate disc, then the thickness is, if it is not maintained, if you are buying the wrong or the duplicate brake pads, and even if the thickness is not maintained, definitely again you will have this problem. In this bike, he mentioned the vehicle is coming from professional shop, so I'm considering that nothing is duplicate in this bike, just a matter of setting, which is the important thing and the topic for, and I mean for particular this today's video. So let's check out the video. I hope you will like the information.
So this is the rear brake pedal. As you can see, some play is there, but we must check the play. So the whole video is regarding the first adjustment or the setting of the rear brake pedal. There is a play, although this is the master cylinder which is underneath of the vehicle, and this is the actual view of the master cylinder. So we have to check the play. If there is no play, this is the link and this is the nut. So these are the threads which are given for adjusting the link rod. So if there is a play, then fine. If there is no play, then yes, your setting is completely wrong. So first you have to set the play. Now why do we need this play? Why do we need to reset? You will be requiring either 13 mm or 10 mm open end spanner. No, don't use any other spanner, just a normal spanner you have to use. Okay, now what is the purpose of setting up the pedal or the play? Generally it's a normal thing, whenever you are applying the brake, the heat is going to get generated, which will be transmitted to the brake fluid via caliper. Now if the fluid gets expanded, then if there is no play at all, then the piston will be in compressed condition even if you leave the lever. So remember, you have to maintain at least 1 or 2 mm gap in between the link rod and the piston. So when there is an expansion, and just in case if the piston gets stuck and if there is a play, then the brake will not get jammed. Do not exceed the play in between the piston and the link rod, otherwise you cannot brake it or you cannot use the brake when the vehicle in cold condition. The lever will go down a lot. Already the position or the shape of the brake lever is so odd, it's not properly forward foot control, we can say. The ankle gets your ankle generally gets pain because of the wrong design of the lever. So make sure the play is not too much and not tight as well. So you have to maintain at least 1 or 2 mm and then tighten the nut. Then once you are done with this, then you can either check the bike or you can check the rear caliper. If the rear caliper greasing is not done properly by you or by the mechanic technician, then definitely wheel is going to get jammed. There are few things which are responsible for this thing. So after resetting the master cylinder, you have to check the caliper. Now in these bikes, in these new breed or the disc bikes, you have to remove everything. Unfortunately, yes, you have to remove everything. If the design is such a way that only caliper can be removed from the caliper foundation, then nothing like it. It's simple and safe. But company has given such a critical and complex engineering, and I'm sure this is just to save money. And such kind of an engineering they have done over here, that for this you need to remove the whole assembly from the vehicle, which is very difficult to remove and which is very difficult to even assemble. Also, few components are wrongly designed. So generally, if your vehicle gets punctured, then people don't, they generally, the fellow who removes the puncture simply says that get the wheel out, I will remove the puncture. You only assemble and dismantle the tire, we will not. So this is the grill to remove the caliper, to get the access to the caliper. So you have to remove the grill first from the back side. For this you will be requiring 4 mm Allen socket or Allen key. Of course, while refitting, do not forget to use anti-seize over here. Generally this doesn't come out, and if it is possible, change the bolt. These dome shaped Allen bolts are useless. Either you can go for normal Allen bolt SS metal, or you can go for hexagonal bolts. Even if it is passivated, doesn't matter, but do not forget to use anti-seize nickel grease or copper grease. So remove the grill So you will get the access to the caliper very easy. That's the only one thing which I liked it, that you get the access, but apart from that everything is very very hard. So it takes time to remove the wheel and it takes time to refit the wheel. Now in this case you have to do the greasing. This is my sliding hammer. Generally I use the sliding hammer to remove the rear axle, because what happens, because of no greasing or no maintenance of the axle gets jammed in the swing arm and in the wheel. So I use the sliding hammer which is made by me only. I manufacture my own tools, because buying these tools not possible. Sometimes they are not even designed and you don't get in the market. So I design my own tool and manufacture my tool according to my need. So this is the hammer, sliding hammer, which I am using to remove the axle. The axle can be tight because of the tilting of the wheel as well. So you have to make sure the axle is there is less load on the axle. After removal of the caliper, this axle, yes, one more thing I would like to mention over here, that repairing or the working on this rear disc, I'm going to make another video, because this video is particularly only to reset, how to reset the brakes, right, the rear brake, not about how to repair or work on the rear caliper. After greasing, just in case if you find the vehicle is still having problem, then in this particular vehicle, as I mentioned in my introduction, my long introduction, I'm sure I have not, you guys are not bored while listening to the introduction, because I wanted to describe something. But in the introduction, I told you guys that he has spent a lot, so I wanted to first check what is exactly problem, correct? So that is the reason I am not changing anything from this bike. No spares will be purchased, correct? As per the client's information, and so the bills which he showed me, that they have changed many spares, which I don't want to, right? So I'm going to reset the rear brake from top to bottom, you can say, and I'm going to check if everything is proper or not first. So I have removed the caliper, I have removed the caliper foundation, and now you have to work on the grease. Remove the boots, just in case if the boots are inflated because of your wrong grease, then replace the boot, or remove the boots and clean it and refit if they are in good shape. These rubbers are basically made for only specific grease, not all types of grease. The inflation may happen because of wrong grease, remember. So rubber compliant grease you have to use over here, and it's a special grease which is made for calipers only. Remember, all the greases are different, they are not same, all are having different grade, all are having different purpose. So if you use wrong grease, then your spare will get damaged. Of course everything is costly, but you have to pay for that to save your motorcycle, because on the road if anything happens, then your brake may fail. So clean all the spares properly, and then go for the reassembly. Little tricky, but no choice. If they give the caliper removable type of, from the foundation only, then piece of cake, very easy to work on. But they haven't. Clean the dispatch by using the brake fluid or the brake cleaner. Don't use any other fluid. Do not use chemicals. Interchange the chemicals for any other purpose. Remember, chemicals are made for special work only. So I have cleaned the pads, so I'm not going to change the pad, because he has changed the pad and I can see that pads are original. I'm not going to change the boots as well. Boots are in good condition. The only thing is that I have cleaned it and I'm going to reuse the same one. Neither going to change the rotor, because rotor is already changed. Now we are done with this job. Now we have to reassemble everything. So these are the rubber boots in which you have to pour some grease. Clean everything. Make sure your hands are clean, or you're using gloves. This is the caliper special grease. It's a brake caliper grease. It's not a normal grease, it's a synthetic brake caliper grease. It's very costly. So make sure you're using such products which will maintain the spare part life properly. Generally, when we buy any automobile product, we think that for 15 years nothing should happen. Nothing means 100%. We just going to fill up fuel and going to maintain the air pressure. That's it. We don't want any trouble for 15 years, which is not possible. Wear and tear is going to happen. It's all depending on your riding conditions, riding style, and who is riding. It's all depending on that, and so the road conditions. So it is 100% impossible that you will get a lifetime proper product. 15 years it won't work, so you have to keep on maintaining these products. And inspection is every time. Inspection is very much important, just to understand if there is any damage or broken things in the motorcycle or any vehicle. Excessive caliper grease, just remove it. We don't require if it is coming out of the rubber boot. And just a normal reassembly. Sequence is very much important. Sequence is important because if you don't assemble or remove in sequence, then you will be having trouble. So now, brake pads installation. Make sure retainer spring is there in the caliper. Retainer spring in square shape of form or rectangular shape of form, you will see, not actually in round or cylindrical type of or spiral type. There are many types of spring. Retainer spring is given to avoid the rattling of the brake pads. Clamping of or secure the pad pin, because while riding it should not come out. Check it thoroughly before reinstallation of the caliper on the wheel. As I said, that assembly is also tough because the engineering what they have done over here quite hard to reassemble. It doesn't support you that way. Don't forget to grease the caliper bore, because it's an axle bore. Don't forget to grease the adjuster and so the wheel and so the axle. So next time you may not need any special tool while removing the axle. And after completion of this job, you have to check the vehicle, just in case again if you feel that there is a problem. Now this is general information, but very vital information. Just in case, after assembling all the spare parts, if you go for a ride and after a few kilometers if you feel that the vehicle is again getting jammed, that means your master cylinder has got a problem. That means your piston inside the master cylinder is not coming to its own position, its own stock position. That means it is staying inside. Either that is because of the debris, the crystallization of the fluid, or wrong spare part, or damaged spring. So you will have to change the master cylinder. Don't try to repair it. Generally I don't prefer to repair the master cylinder. I know I have posted one of the video how to install the minor kit or the piston kit in the master cylinder. Generally I put a new one, because what happens, because of the friction, there is a huge chance the bore may get changed. So best is to change the master cylinder, just in case if you feel again. So once we have done the greasing, so axle or the wheel bore we have to grease. That will be done from another side. The caliper locking system on the swing arm is also flimsy, so it's very difficult to remove the wheel. I don't know how people are adjusting themselves when they are not even trained when there is a puncture. Make sure the grease is not out of the bore because it may touch the disc, and remember, because of the grease, brakes may fail, because the pad soaks that material very fast. So now time to go for axle. Fitted the caliper. Without greasing the axle, do not install, otherwise you will have tough time while removing it. Make sure the alignment of the chain is proper. So from both sides you must check the distance of the adjuster. Although they have given the mark, this is the ball bearing hammer. It's a rubber mallet. It has, you can hear the sound. There are metal balls inside the hammer. This is very good for impact purpose. So do not use any metal hammer. You can use wood or the rubber. For adjusting the or alignment the chain, you must calculate. Now calculation in the sense, just use vernier. Of course that video I'll be working on again. So you have to check the distance in between all the nuts and then retight the nut.
Thanks guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked the information. I hope you understood what is the logic behind the rear brake and how to repair that. Do not change anything unless until you see the thing, as I mentioned before in my introduction, and do not apply anything immediately. And more than that, buy all the genuine spare parts, use proper tools, appropriate tools to repair the vehicle, otherwise you will damage more than before, because client is coming to you to resolve the particular problem, right? So use proper tools and proper spares. So thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.